doing? We have family down, well, my son's going to college down the shore.
At this time, there's no evidence that these drones pose a public safety or national security threat. It's the dumbest thing you've ever heard, because if they don't know what they are or where they came from, that is a national security threat. That is evidence alone.
This is 2024. They're either lying or they're incompetent or they're both. How can we, the United States of America, have this going on and we're told just look the other way?
Drones causing officials to scramble. Authorities now sending letters to President Joe Biden, like he's going to do anything, if he knows what a drone is or what they are, other than looking at them and, what are those lights in the sky, Joe? All right, come back inside, Joe. So he gets a letter from the governor of New Jersey, and a bunch of other individuals from the Senate are sending letters to Alejandro, Christopher Wray, and Michael Whitaker at the FAA. And so we'll go through these letters, but there's also new reports that something may have crashed there in New Jersey, and people are scrambling to go figure it out. And I also came across this clip from this guy called Andy Kim, who is a New Jersey senator who is out there with police watching these things flying around. And so there's been a lot of videos out there that may or may not be credible and so on. But this guy is a senator, state senator, who was there with police watching the footage, watching the drones. They're talking about it. So we'll come back on that. But here's the background on this, because they tell us that there's chatter, and now Governor Murphy's sending a letter to Joe Biden that we'll read. The governor is saying that there are ongoing sightings. People are freaked out. Now, earlier in the day, law enforcement in Somerset County in New Jersey, they investigated a report of a drone hitting a power line. And so people were wondering, is one of these downed? Chopper 2 flew over the scene near a Lowe's parking lot where multiple agencies could be seen combing a wooded area. Like, oh, dang, man. So they're going to go get the drone, like multiple agencies. Like, we got one. Now, the FBI said it's aware of the incident, but could not provide any further information. Hillsborough police said they did not find any drones and the scene was cleared. And so no dangers, no known threats to the public. Now, meanwhile, elected officials on Staten Island, they held a news conference. I've got that queued up. And a bunch of people are saying, let's start to be honest with the American people. Feds are also pressing for details. We see senators are sending the letters. You see, this one is going to Joe Biden, to President Joe Biden, as though he can do anything about it. Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey sent this one. They say, yo, Mr. President, hello, you're still the president. Now, I write with growing concern, sir, about reports of unmanned aircraft systems in and around New Jersey airspace. Now, as you are aware, UAs had become a standard feature of American life over the last decade, used by hobbyists, researchers, and for commercial purposes alike. The proliferation of this technology has introduced additional risks to public safety, homeland security, and more. Now, since November 18th, New Jersey police have received reports of UAS sightings in our airspace. Existing laws limit the ability of state and local law enforcement to counter UAS, and at my request, Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas briefed my administration and our congressional delegation on actions the agency would take to learn more about the reported UAs. Now, his team, as well as your Homeland Security Advisor, Dr. Elizabeth Sherwood Randall, have been exceptional partners in trying to unearth the cause of these reported sightings. A team from the FBI has been leading the interagency investigation, and we are appreciative of their attention to this matter. Now, while I am sincerely grateful for your administration's leadership on this concerning issue, it has become apparent that more resources are needed to fully understand what is behind this activity. This week, the FBI testified in a joint subcommittee hearing before Congress that the federal government alone cannot address UAS. New Jersey residents deserve more concrete information about these sightings and what is causing them. The continued reporting of this activity has raised more questions than answers and prompted an outcropping of conspiracy theories across social media and other platforms. Where is the conspiracy coming from? We have Congress people telling us that Iran was flying a mothership. Like, is that real or not? Then the State Department came out and said no, and the DOD came out and said no, that's not happening. So you guys keep saying you have no evidence of anything. Can you tell us anything? So the governor is like begging the president. I respectfully urge you to continue to direct federal agencies involved to work together until they uncover answers on what is behind these. I've directed the state police and our Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness to assist them in any capacity. And yesterday we were asking the question, I mean, what resources do they have to just send somebody up and just blow it up? And can they do that? And of course, you amazing folks were telling, oh, Rob, hello, the National Guard. So now he's got the state police looking into it and Homeland Security Preparedness, but maybe not the National Guard. In addition, I have supported your administration's efforts in asking Congress to give us more money and power to look at these things. I am encouraged by the consensus that Congress is building around this, which will be necessary as New Jersey prepares to hold the World Cup in less than 2 years. We don't want drones falling on our heads. As always, I stand by to help. Sincerely, Philip Murphy, governor of New Jersey. Now, this is what it sounded like when a state senator called Andy Kim, New Jersey senator, public servant, dad to 2 troublemaking kids, and he's there serving. He says, last night, I went out with local police to spot drone flying over New Jersey. Here's what I saw. We drove to Round Valley Reservoir, and the officer pointed to lights moving low over the tree line. Sometimes they were solid white lights, others flashed of red and green. Here's a thread. So here's one image of this.
I've never seen them. Wow, they just passed each other.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
How about anything about the one that supposedly went down over here by that?
All right, so that's video 1. He says, we oriented ourselves with a flight tracker app to help us distinguish from airplanes. We often saw about 5 to 7 lights at a time that were low and not associated with aircraft we could see on the tracker app. Some hovered while others moved across the horizon. Here's another short clip.
That's just in the middle of Round Valley. Yeah, that one right straight ahead.
Yeah, but what are they doing? We have family down, well, my son's going to college down the shore.
Different
Right
lights there. All right, strange, right? Kind of following in a sequence. Then he continues, state senator. We saw a few that looked like they were moving in small clusters of 2 to 4. We clearly saw several that would move horizontally and then immediately switch back in the opposite direction in maneuvers that planes can't do. This is a senator and cops all out there.
The one low looks pretty close, right?
So this one's gonna fly over us right now.
You think so? Cocaine
It's hard to get a good shot of what it.
Guys, come over here. There's like a couple that are gonna just fly right over us. There's a couple that are gonna fly right over us.
All right, so interesting. Now it continues. The police officer said they see them out every night. They only seem to start when it gets dark and they disappear before dawn. They get reports that they sometimes fly over low over homes, especially up in the hills. Here's another scene. Okay, and we continue on. He says the officer said they've tried to get closer with the use of a helicopter, but that the drones would turn off the lights and go dark if they approached. The parking lot at the reservoir had a number of cars of people coming to take a look for themselves. Several shared with me their own stories of having seen them some up close. One described them being the size of the hood of a car. You can see here, a group of people out there. I went to multiple locations across Hunterdon County to get different vantage points. This is a more rural part of New Jersey. It's uncertain why it's one of the more active areas for reported activity. We are seeing reports through other parts of the state. Any images or video footage people get, the police urge them to submit them to the FBI, but I haven't gotten any follow-up yet from the FBI on their investigation and what they've compiled. Homeland Security briefed last week on new technology they were deploying, but we need details on what those efforts have yielded and if more resources are needed. If they haven't fully identified the devices yet, we still should know what is being done. This has gone on for weeks. It's hard to understand how with the technology we have, we aren't able to track these devices to determine the origin, and this makes me much more concerned about our capabilities more broadly when it comes to drone detection and countermeasures. Yeah. Now, I'll continue to track these developments and share as much as possible to the people of New Jersey that deserve more answers than they're getting. I have guessed that the government knows what they are. They're just being coy about it. You can watch John Kirby. They're all saying dumb things like, we have no evidence, okay? At this time, there's no evidence that these drones pose a public safety or national security threat. It's the dumbest thing you've ever heard, because if they don't know what they are or where they came from, that is a national security threat. That is evidence alone. But the governor said, we know New Yorkers have spotted drones in the air this week and we are investigating. At this time, there's no evidence that these drones pose a public safety or national security threat. We are coordinating with our federal partners, including the FBI and Homeland, to protect New Yorkers. And okay, that's great, like FBI and Homeland. All right. What about every other branch of the DOD? What about Space Force? What about all of the the other components. FBI goes, we don't know what they are. DHS says, we don't know what they are. Meanwhile, it's some Space Force bros up there chilling. This is great. No one knows what the hell is going on here. So we already know that they can't even talk to each other to protect the Capitol building, for crying out loud. They can't even communicate with their field offices and their confidential human sources, which is why we had 23 of them who were not authorized to be there, but who were there on January 6th. And over a dozen of them went into the building, or went into the restricted area, rather. So she says they're coordinating with the people who know nothing about anything to figure this out. So don't hold your breath. But there's another letter that went out. So as you can see, they send them to Homeland. Alejandro can't even identify human beings coming across a border, okay? So can't even figure that out. Can you figure out what's in the sky, Alejandro? No. He's had about 31 million opportunities to identify and stop human beings from coming across the border. Can't handle it. So drones are way above board. It's like, are you kidding? No. Christopher Wray, he doesn't even care, okay? He's out of here. He's like, these go right. Yeah, put those in the will respond letter pile over there. Just gets bigger every day. And the FAA. Don't know anything about Michael Whitaker, but if he's on the same letterhead with these two, he's probably, you know what I mean. All right, so we write out of urgent concern. Here's who's writing this. Kristen Gillibrand, Cory Booker, Charles Schumer, and Andy Kim, United States Senator. Oh, that was a U.S. Senator? Wow, I didn't even realize that. I thought that was a state senator. Mea culpa, my friends. That was a United States Senator, New Jersey Senator, not a state senator. And he's demanding now answers along with the rest of them. So we got New Jersey and New York, all 4 senators sending this letter to these people. It says, we write out of urgent concern regarding the unmanned aerial system, UAS, the activity that has affected our communities across New York and New Jersey due to the ongoing nature of these drone incidents. We request that Homeland, FAA, and FBI brief us as soon as possible on how your agencies are working with federal and local law enforcement to identify and address the source of these incursions. And it's a bunch of agencies talking in circles. They're not talking to the people who are doing it, obviously. As you know, since late November, communities across New York and northern New Jersey have reported several incidents of unattributable drone sightings at night, alarming both residents and local law enforcement. According to public reports, residents have reported some of these drones are larger in size compared to other commercially available drones. Some of these drones have been observing maneuvering near critical infrastructure, sensitive locations like reservoirs, military installations. Now, in addition to potential privacy concerns raised by these flying overhead, they're concerned about how drones may harm public safety, especially given recent reports that a medevac helicopter was prevented from transporting a seriously injured patient because of the presence of these drones. Now, the potential safety and security risks posed by these drones in civilian areas is especially pertinent considering the recent incursions at military sites, and we read through the charges against the Chinese national who was here in California flying drones over the Space Force base. Protecting civilian infrastructure and safety and military assets will require a comprehensive response from Congress, so they're going to want more money, I guess. For this reason, we request that the briefing you provide also include any authorities, tools, or staff you may require to address these ongoing incidents and broader security challenges posed by the UAs. This is a demand for money by these Democrats. How much money do you need before we leave office? Exactly right. Just let us know. Then we'll pass over some money your way. Now, we'll see where it goes. This was what some of the Staten Island lawmakers had to say today when trying to figure out what the heck's flying over them. Here's the couple clips.
And the people of Staten Island deserve answers. The people of this city and state and region deserve answers of what the heck is going on. Just last night in my neighborhood, my neighbor sent a video of whatever it is flying over our house. And yet we're told, don't believe what you see. It's shocking to us that here we are almost a month later, 3,000 sightings, drones, manned aircraft, and our folks don't have an answer. We're calling upon not just the New York City Police Department, but others to get involved, get aggressive, figure out what these things are, and help at least alleviate some of the frustration, anxiety that many people share. This is 2024. They're either lying or they're incompetent or they're both. How can we, the United States of America, have this going on and we're told just look the other way? Ignore it. It's no big deal. We know for a fact that there may be some, performing some type of surveillance. Well, let's be honest with the American people and treat them like adults and tell them what it is. Yet here we are standing because we know recently there were reports over this asset of Arizona Narrows Bridge. Here we are in Fort Wadsworth, one of the oldest military installation in the country. We believe a drone flying above the bridge. We also know on the other side of the island there was a drone flying over New York Container Port in the Goethals Bridge. And we're supposed to just let it be? Come on, folks. step up to the plate and be honest and truthful with the American people, the people of Staten Island, and solve this problem once and for all. We're in this together. I know we have many folks around this region who are weighing in now. About time. We started a couple of weeks ago asking that, along with the Congresswoman, to include at least Staten Island in any investigation that's going on at the FAA and the FBI. This is not to take away from them. They didn't start this problem, but they have an obligation to let us know what the heck is going on. As I said, we're all in this together, and representing us in D.C. and Congress is our Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis.
All right, so a lot of frustration there and not many answers from the federal government. We'll see if these senators get any answers, or if somebody can you just throw a net over it or something? Somebody can figure it out. I'm sure they're working hard on it, and we'll see where it goes. But lots of panic, lots of scrambling afoot from all of these officials. They can't even figure out what's flying over their heads.